All right, welcome in to a reaction to Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. Oklahoma City takes a 3-1 series lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves in a game that was back and forth, and we'll talk about kind of the ending of the game here in just a minute. But really my takeaways from this game is this Minnesota team just doesn't seem like they're up for the challenge. And I know what they did in Game 3, where they come out and they just put it on Oklahoma City, win by 42 points. I get that. I think that they showed a lot of fight in that game. But it just doesn't seem like they're up for the fight. It doesn't seem like they're up for the challenge. There are plenty of times that Oklahoma City has given Minnesota opportunities, and they never take advantage of it. And on the other side, I think that Oklahoma City, every time they get an opportunity to take advantage of a turnover or misstep by the Minnesota Timberwolves, they do. And there were so many times last night towards the end of the game, the last 5, 6, 7 minutes of the game, where it was back and forth and Minnesota would hit a big shot and then couldn't get a stop defensively. And then they would go down the court and hit another big shot. And you're like, all right, hey, they're starting to hit their shots and then defensively miss. Don't block out Chet Holmgren, who gets an offensive board and just an easy putback. It just seems like they're not up for it. And I think that this is going to be over in 5. I don't think that Minnesota is going to be able to make a game out of this or a series out of this down 3-1. I don't expect them to go to Oklahoma City and win on the road, where the Thunder have been incredible all postseason. This game is interesting because a lot of the conversation is about Anthony Edwards and his lack of production. I don't think that it's that big of a deal. And to be honest with you, I think that now, would I like Anthony Edwards to have more than just 16 points in a game? Absolutely. Would I want him to shoot more than 13 shots in a game? Absolutely. However, I think that Anthony Edwards was making enough plays offensively that it wasn't that big of a deal to me. Dante DiVincenzo finished the game with 21 points. He was 5 for 8 from 3, and most of the time it was because it was a good pass by Anthony Edwards leading to an open shot and an open corner 3. Gilgeous-Alexander Walker also 5 from 8. He had 23 points as well. So I think that you got production from others because Anthony Edwards was playing well. He was making the right reads in the pick and roll. He was doing the correct play. He just, I don't think, was being super aggressive getting to the free throw line. He was 5 for 7 from the line, but I just thought that there were opportunities that he probably could have drove the ball and maybe made a better play. There was a couple of contested threes. He didn't shoot well at all yesterday from 3, just 1 for 7 from behind the arc. So that's obviously something that he could have been better at. But overall, I think there's a lot of conversations about, well, if you are going to be the face of the league, and I do think there is some merit to this, if you are going to be the face of the league, you can't just take 13 shots in a game that is very winnable for your team. If you are wanting to be the guy, if you're wanting to be a Kobe Bryant, a Michael Jordan, a Larry Bird, a Magic Johnson, a LeBron James, if you're wanting to be one of those guys, you have to try to insert yourself more into these series and more into these games. Now, there have been plenty of games where LeBron kind of took a back seat and was just making the right play, and he would end up stacking up, 13 assists in a game. But there's also games like Game 6 in 2012 against the Celtics where he goes 45 and 15 because he knows his team has to have it. And last night was one of those games that Anthony Edwards, they needed to have. If you could get back to Oklahoma City and make it a 2-2 series where now it's a best of 3, then you're in a much better position than what you are now, obviously. And so I thought that yesterday, coming off of a historical win in Game 3, to come out in Game 4 and not be super aggressive and not just try to do whatever it takes to get your team to win, I thought that was a mistake by Anthony Edwards. He didn't play bad. I mean, he shot 38% from the field. He was a -3 in the plus-minus, but I didn't think that Anthony Edwards played poorly. I just thought that he needed to be more aggressive in a time where, if you're going to win these games, you got to kind of go out on a limb and win them, and really try to force the effort. So, I just look, this Oklahoma City team, I think, is too dangerous and too good. I'm picking them to win the championship this year. I think that they have what it takes. I think that defensively they're playing extremely well. They forced, I think, 23 turnovers. Yeah, forced 23 turnovers yesterday. Defensively, they're just extremely good. Alex Caruso is a great on-ball defender. They do a really good job in rotations. They're extremely long and athletic at most of the positions on the floor. So this team, I think, is just that good. And I think that this Oklahoma City team is just going to kind of cruise. I do think that the Pacers can give them some fits. I don't know if that series goes 6-7, but I do think that the Pacers could give them some fits because the Pacers are kind of similar to them. Like, they defensively, they have a bunch of versatile guys. I know that kind of Halliburton's a defensive liability, but you have Miles Turner, who's a really good defensive player. So I think that you have some guys that could match up with Oklahoma City if the Pacers are to get to the NBA Finals. But this team right here, this team is really good. Shea yesterday finished with 40 points. This is crazy. 40 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds for SGA yesterday. He was 12 for 14 from the line. Nobody else on the Thunder shot more than 2 free throws. He shot 14, and everyone else shot 2. So you can kind of see he is the guard that likes to drive the most. So I think that some of these calls are obviously warranted. Some of them seem a little faint. But 12 for 14, and you're out shooting your other teammates by 12 points at the line. That'll do it. All right. But this was not just him. Jalen Williams had 34. Chet Holmgren had 21. Alex Caruso, 10 off the bench. This team is just really good. And I don't think that they're going to lose. I don't think they're going to lose to Minnesota, and I don't think they're going to lose to either the Pacers or the Knicks. Looking forward to Game 5, I think that Oklahoma City kind of runs away with it. I do think there'll be a little bit of fight early in the game against for the Timberwolves. I'm sure that Anthony Edwards will be a little bit more aggressive in that game versus what he was in this one because it is a do or die. And Anthony Edwards strikes me as someone who hears the noise. Not that necessarily he sees it, but other people tell him. And that's kind of what he strikes me as someone who has people around him that tell him what people are saying about him. So I'm sure that people are going to let him know that the conversation coming out of Game 4 is you got to be more aggressive and you got to go for it. You can't sit back and only take 13 shots in a pretty much a must-win game. So I'm sure that's going to happen, but I don't think that Oklahoma City is going to lose in Game 5. I think they win this 4-1 and go to the NBA Finals. I also think that we need to talk about the end of games because yesterday's game was a prime example of a really good playoff game just dying at the end of it because it becomes a free throw competition. Yesterday, about a minute left, it became just so many free throw attempts. So here's some of at 14 seconds left. 14 seconds left in the game. 2-point game. Timberwolves foul SGA. He goes to the line, shoot 2, make it a 4-point game. He makes them both. All right. Then they go into a play where Dante DiVincenzo misses a layup right at the rim. Gobert gets the putback. Now it's back to a 2-point game. Then it's a foul. Only 2 seconds have come off the board. Then it's a foul. SGA makes one of two free throws to make it a 3-point game. Missed the second. Timeout. 2 seconds later, actually not even 1 second later, personal take foul by Lou Dort. Naz Reid makes one of two, makes 2 of 2. Now it's a 1-point game. Personal take foul by Gilgeous-Alexander Walker. This is within about 2 seconds of actual game time. We've shot 6 free throws. SGA makes them both. 6 seconds left. Personal take foul. Caruso, Anthony Edwards makes 1 of 2. Ball game. That's a lot of free throws in the last 8 seconds of the game. And it becomes just, all right, are we making our free throws? That's the end of it. And years ago, this was a conversation that was had about analytics and the three-point shot of like what is happening with the Rockets back in like 2018, 2017, right? 2017, 2018 Rockets, they're just firing up a bunch of threes because that's what analytics tells them to do. Analytics here tells you to always foul when you're up 3 in the closing seconds. That's what Oklahoma City did. You got to foul to try to stop the clock. That's what Minnesota did. And so here we are in the last couple of minutes of the game of real time, and we're just shooting free throws. That's all we're doing. Going back and forth shooting free throws, and it kills the pace. It kills the excitement. And I don't know what the NBA is going to have to do about it, but when the Rockets were doing this, you know, Daryl Morey, who was the GM at the Rockets at the time, was like, look, I'm not responsible for the product. I'm responsible to win games, and analytics tells us that this is the best way to win games. It's the NBA's job to worry about what it looks like in the aesthetic of it on television. And the last minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of this game where we're going timeout, free throw, timeout, free throw, timeout, free throw, and only 2 seconds of actual game clock has gone off, it's pretty exhausting. And any close game is ending like this, which is terrible for the television product. These games have been so incredibly good. And then here you are, we're seeing this. We've seen teams do hack of Mitchell, right? With Mitchell Robinson. And they're just fouling him because they know that the likelihood is he's not going to make it, and they can kind of steal a possession possibly. So the NBA is going to have to do something about this because it was bad basketball the last couple of minutes because of this free throw, timeout, free throws, timeout, free throws, timeout. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. Let me know what you think the NBA could do, because right now this wasn't fun to watch the last minute and a half of that game. So, all right. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow for Knicks Pacers game 4. That one's going to be a lot of fun as well. 2-1 Pacers lead. So there's a lot to get into on that series as well. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're continuing to do our Super Bowl watch reactions. We're going to be doing another one of those here shortly. So please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and wherever you listen to your podcast. And we'll be back tomorrow with another one of these. This is just a quick 10-minute reaction video to Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals.